you have the weekly. On the right, you have the daily. If we start on the daily, you can see we have some liquidity up here at 93, but we have the most liquidity down here to the downside around $88,000. Now, usually the price goes to wherever there is the most liquidity, and I just want to make sure this is the most up-to-date action. If we come over to the weekly, you can see that we have a lot of liquidity in this $80,000 to $82,000 range. And that's kind of where I see Bitcoin going next, is rolling over to the downside. I really want Bitcoin to crack 95,000 because that's where I had a big sell order on my Minotaur trading bot. But we'll see what happens. Right now, it doesn't look like that's the likely scenario. It looks like we come down to $82,000. My liquidation is 41,000, so I'm not too worried about it right now, unless we really don't get any kind of rally. But so far, the rally has been pretty weak over the last 3 weeks. So now let's come over to the charts and see what's going on in the charts. I do also need to let my group know. I should do a sound test on YouTube as well, so let me do that really quickly. Hold on a second. Unless we really don't play Andrew's iPhone. So sounds like the sound is working. That's awesome. I do need to let Telegram know that we are live because I forgot to do that, and then we can get continuing here. If you guys want to join the Telegram group, it is free to join. Link to join is in the description below. But yeah, so right now on the daily time frame, what is Bitcoin doing? Well, the daily time frame made a lower high on the stock RSI, and now it's curving to the downside. The 2-day has not gone overbought yet, but right now the daily made a lower high. That's a confirmed lower high unless RSI comes back up. For right now, it looks pretty bad, and it looks like that's a lower high. And now, if you made a lower high, you can expect a lower low below $80,400. And if you lose $80,400, your next support I don't see is until about $74,500 to the downside. So to me, at this point, that's what I see going on. Is the most likely scenario is that the train's your friend until the end. You lower high, you should expect a lower low. If we jump down to the top down to the 12-hour, the 12-hour time frame, is trying to get some kind of bounce here, but at the end of the day, you're trying to bounce off of 88.4. It's struggling. If you lose 88.4, your next support I see is about 86.3, and then 82.1, and then again maybe some support here at 80K. But overall, the next strongest support I see is 74.5 if you lose 86K. So let's see what happens. I don't love the 12-hour by any means. 8-hour time frame is trying to make a higher low. The 6-hour is trying to make a higher low. The 4-hour time frame, same thing. But if anything, this is becoming a bear flag, and I could see us continuing lower. So let me kind of draw this out for you guys. If Bitcoin does make a bear flag here and just wants to continue lower, you will get the measure move. I'm taking it from the last local high to the last local low. And hold on a second. And when that happens, your measure move right now for Bitcoin is $83,800 to the downside on the 4-hour time frame. 3-hour time frame, that might get overbought back to the top of the range around 90K. But at the end of the day, this looks more bearish to me than bullish, and I see more downside for Bitcoin. 1-hour time frame about to make another lower high, and on the 1-hour time frame, it's very clear to me you're below the 200-day moving average, and you're in a bear flag, and you're making lower highs and lower lows on the stock RSI. So at the end of the day, I see more downside for Bitcoin. I would say this: you can maybe say that you have a chance for a relief rally if you get it back above the 1-hour 200 or above 90,500. As of right now, beyond that, that's I'm not really bullish short term on Bitcoin until you crack the 1-hour 200 or 90,500. That's only $1,000 move away, but that's what needs to happen. Half-hour time frame has made a lower high, and the 15-minute time frame again below the 200 lower high, and that looks pretty bad. So. At the end of the day, I see more downside for Bitcoin. It just doesn't look fantastic. That's my call. Is I see more downside over the weekend. Now the 3 minutes trying to save the day. It's above the 200 and a little bit of a flag. So maybe you get some kind of momentum here. But at the end of the day, if I had to call it on the higher time frames for the rest of the weekend, I see more downside for Bitcoin. Now the 3 minute right now wants to break up to about 89, almost 90K. Can you do that? Sure. But I don't know. I don't think there's a lot of liquidity in the markets right now. So if the 3 minute wants to do it, it has to happen now in the next 15 minutes. If it doesn't happen in the next 15 minutes, that's no go. Thank you for the likes on TikTok. I do appreciate it. But the 3 minute could be your saving grace right now. You're above the 3 minute 200. You're above the 2 minute 200. You're above the 1 minute 200. 4 minutes almost above it. But your 3 minutes well above it. That's at the 89.5, so we'll see. I don't actually really see this playing out because the volume is so bad, and I see more movement to the downside. But we'll see. I'll leave that there. I would not take this long. not financial advice. I would not take this long. I see more downside on Bitcoin, and that's just my thoughts on the market. I see more downside. So Luna had a nice pump today. Now it's consolidating. And I would kind of draw this out on Luna right now. I did not FOMO in. I thought about it getting in at 10 or 11 cents. I wish I did because it went up to, 16? But at this point, I see the 4 hour probably needing to consolidate. Stock RSI curving down, coming back to the 21 around 10 cents. So that's not that big of a drop for Luna overall. But I at least see it coming back down to 10 cents and maybe all the way back down to the support at 7. But for right now, Luna, if anything, I wouldn't short this. I think you kind of missed the best time to short, which was at 15, 16 cents. But for right now, Luna looks like it's going to probably just kind of do something like this and eventually come to the downside. So we'll see what happens. That's kind of my thoughts on Luna right now. Maybe that color was good. Should I leave it, maybe, I don't know, maybe I should have left it orange. I'll leave it orange. Leave it orange. Luna, that's what I see Luna probably doing, though, is probably consolidating, coming back down to either 10 cents, and if you don't hold 10 cents, 7 cents on Luna. That's my update on Luna. Zcash, I did take a short on at 330 in the red a little bit. We'll see what happens with that. But the thought on that is the weekly still needs to come down to the 21. I've talked about this for the last month, probably, at least, maybe the last 2 or 3 weeks at least. And the weekly 21 is coming in at $220 or so. And my stop loss, I think, was a 4 hour 200 coming in at 513. So that's kind of my update on Luna. I'm sorry, on Zcash. I see Zcash eventually coming down to about $220, $225 in the next 2 to 4 weeks. So that's my update on Zcash. If you guys have a request for all, let me know in the comment section below. Thank you for the continued likes. I do appreciate it. But yeah, that's what I see going on for a lot of the market. So Jelly, I'm keeping an eye on. Definitely no trades right now, but Jasmine right now, well below the 200, nothing to talk about. You got rejected off the 200 back here, a penny exactly, and now you're just in a massive downtrend, down almost 35% from that level. So it just doesn't look fantastic for Jasmine, but a lot of altcoins look like this. Tesla's ripping. That's great. That's the stock market. Pro 3 right now, this is with all of the cryptocurrencies, like altcoins and Ethereum, not including Bitcoin. It's not looking good. You're below the 4 hour 200, so if this does not crack the 4 hour 200, I expect a lot of altcoins to continue to bleed, because this is basically Ethereum as well as, no, it excludes Ethereum and Bitcoin, but it's all of the other altcoins. So this suggests that altcoins are going to continue to get annihilated to the downside. Gold's still doing good. I still see gold in a flag with a measure move of $4,400 and change. But at the end of the day, I see a lot of these altcoins getting annihilated. Atom, which I do hold very small, a few $100s of, I stake it as well, well below the 4 hour 200, and my average price is $3.2. It's so far down. And that's another lower high incoming on the 4 hour. So a lot of these alts look bad. Even Solana below the 4 hour 200 and below major resistance at 140. So unless Solana cracks 140, 142, I would say 142. If you don't crack 142, you're very bearish on Solana. And if you come over to Ethereum, even if Ethereum is below the 4 hour 200, as is Bitcoin. Actually, is Bitcoin? Yeah, Bitcoin is as well. So yeah, Ethereum looks bad. A lot of alts look bad. I'm sorry, the market sucks right now, and that is what it is. So that's just a quick market update. I'll be back live on Tuesday at 9 p.m. Central Time, but I just want to, actually, I might have to tweak the time on Tuesday, I think, but for right now, we'll plan on 9 p.m. Central Time. If I change that, and I probably will, I will let you guys know in the Telegram group. My most likely time I'll switch that to is 6 p.m. Central Time on Tuesday, so I'll still live that night, just a little earlier. But for right now, yeah, I'll plan actually for right now Tuesday, 6 p.m. Central Time. But I will be live Tuesday night, and that'll be the next time I'm live. But for right now, there's not a lot to talk about on the weekends. I did want to give you guys a quick market update. Again, we come back to the Bitcoin on the 3-minute time frame, kind of struggling to get that bounce. And again, I said there's a lack of volume, and that is because it's a weekend in December. And usually December, there's not much volume to begin with. And then when you pair that with the fact it's the weekend, it's very low volume. Let's go look at XRP. We can definitely look at that, so thank you for that request. XRP to $1.96. Well, let's see what it's at right now. It's at 205. Well, okay, sure. $1.96 doesn't seem hard to do. You come in and you look at the 4-hour time frame below the 200-day moving average, below major resistance on the outside on the weekly time frame at $2.2. So if you stay below $2.2, I don't see why you don't come back down to the support. I have it technically at 194. Yeah, you would touch, obviously, if you come down to 194, you touch $1.96. Look how fast that stalker side is getting overbought on the 4-hour time frame. That's not a good sign. That's bearish, and that would help you. 6-hour time frame could pump you though, so just be careful. But as long as you stay below that 4-hour 200, or I would really say that major resistance at 220, I don't see why you can't hit $1.96. Now, do you enter a short right now, or maybe a limit buy there makes more sense. I wouldn't be shorting that small move, especially when your stops would have to really be above the 200 on the 4-hour at 220. Your stop would have to be like 222, and that doesn't make sense to me for a short. But I could see a limit buy being a good place there between $1.94 and $1.96. That's not financial advice, but yeah, I kind of agree. That's a decent support level around $1.94, $1.96. Now, I don't know why it's not $1.90 or something, but I see it around $1.94. Yeah. So we'll see what happens, but yeah, I could see that happening for sure. As long as you don't crack $2.20, I see more downside to $1.94, and it's pretty much that simple. If you don't crack 220, I see $1.94 incoming. If this, then that, and that's kind of how I see XRP. Thank you for that request. It just looks bad on XRP. Well, if we go look at a coin I haven't looked at in forever, we can go look at Fetch AI. Below the daily 200 coming in at 56 cents. Jumping down to the 4-hour time frame. It is below the 4-hour 200 as well. Also, major resistance coming in at 27 cents. So, if you don't crack, I'll say this. If you don't crack 28 cents, I see more downside, really. And let's see where the next support is. I also have said this many times. Anytime I see a massive wick like that, usually you end up filling the wick. That suggests you go down to 11.7 cents or 11.6 cents on FET AI. So to me, at this point, I'll say this and keep it simple. If this, then that. If you do not crack 27 cents... If you don't crack 26 cents on the 4-hour, I see more downside to about 19 cents. I'm sorry. No, I see. If you don't crack 28 cents, I see more downside to about 11 or 12 cents. We'll say 12 cents. So one more coin I did want to look at is Shiba Inu. I know that Shiba Inu had that crazy wick, and I just want to see if you filled that wick. So far, you're struggling to really get that dump, but yeah, I mean, you did go down you made a lower low on Friday down to 76. So, and then you pumped again to 95. It's just kind of all over the place. But at the end of the day, I see more downside. I do see Shiba eventually filling that level at 6.7. I see that level being filled sooner than later on Shiba Inu. I wonder if that's why it bounced there. That's so stupid. Anyways, Shiba Inu looking like it could go down to the 6.8 level, 6.6 level. Thank you for the follow. What do you think about Chainlink? I thank you for the follow, by the way. I appreciate that you love it. Awesome. Chainlink? I don't really care about it anymore. I used to hold it in the last bull run, not this bull run, so like 4 years ago. Let's go look at Chainlink on the daily and the 4-hour. So 4-hour daily below $218. The 4-hour time frame is almost above it, but you're really struggling. That's, well, the 4-hour doesn't look horrible, but definitely doesn't look good. 3-hour about to make a lower high. That's awful. 2 hours above the 200. That's actually not a bad sign. You would expect the 3-hour can stay above it, but it looks horrible. It looks like there's no volume right now. And I see that. That's like a rising wedge on the 1-hour. I don't want to overanalyze the small time frames, but that's bearish. That's a pretty clear bear flag, a rising wedge to me on the half-hour time frame for that's a rounded top bear flag. That's actually an inverted cup and handle. Like that's your rounded top is your cup, and then your handle is a rising wedge, and that's gonna most likely break to the downside. So again, would I short this? I don't know, but that looks pretty awful to me, and you have a measure move approximately of about $12.60 on Chainlink. To 12.64 is your measure move. So if you stay below, I would say 14.50, 14.40. I see no reason not to go down to 12.60, 12.70 on Chainlink. So to me, what do I think of it? I think it looks like trash. Even on the 4-hour time frame, it looks like trash. And the trend is obviously to the downside. Look at that crazy week you had on Chainlink. I would be shocked if you don't go and refill $70.92. I think there's a 90% chance that gets filled in the next 1 to 3 months. I'm gonna say 1 to 3, not 1 to not 2 to 4 weeks like Zcash, but I do think that gets filled at some point. Some point in this bear market, because like anytime you're below the daily 200 for more than 2 weeks, that's a bear market, and that's been the case for Shiba Inu or for Link. So Link looks like it's in a bear market and eventually going to hit $8. That's what I see going on for Chainlink. I can't keep these straight. Oh, look at Bitcoin! It might just pump out of this flag. So that's what I see going on. Thank you for the follow, Antonio. I appreciate it. Bitcoin at 82,000. Again, I said I don't see why it won't go down to 82,000 if you do not crack 90,600. This 3-minute flag gives you a chance to crack that level, but right now I'm bearish on Bitcoin short term. How about IPC? What is that? Sure, let's go look at IPC. IPC. Why is it not popping up? Because I know it's a real coin. Internet Protocol. Why? It's not popping up. IPC. Is it ICP? I think it's ICP. I think you mean ICP, right? ICP. Okay, let's look at this. Daily is below the 200, coming in at $4.88. You've been below it ever since the 19th, which is 2 weeks. So this is also no bear market now. Internet Protocol. I'm hoping this is what you meant. 4 hours well below the 200. 4-hour stock or 4-hour 200 almost about to start curving to the downside. Not financial advice, but this could be a decent short here. Stop loss above $5. That's insane. This looks awful. And look at that crazy wick. Anytime that happens, you know what, guys? This is like a macro long-term swing trade that I could see forming on ICP right now. With like a measure move of not new lows, but I'm just like kind of thinking about shorting this shit. This is like this is a shit coin. I can't find what I'm looking for right now. I wanted to get here it is. So like I want to kind of give you a trade. This is like an okay trade setup right now. This is not financial advice, but this is like something I will probably think about doing sometime in the next 24 hours, if not tonight. Like here you go. So you look at the 4-hour. I told you most of these wicks fill, even if it's just a double bottom. And say your take profit's like $1.30. I'm just trying to see what the risk to reward would be on that. Like you could even put your stop. Like I would say your stop does have to be $5 though. So it's not actually that great of a short. Your stop could be lowered to about that. That's still a 1.54 RNI. Wait, no, I'm not doing that. It's a 1.48, yeah, so that's not great. Unless you use the 200-day smooth moving average, which I think I would be okay with as well, then it's almost 3. So it's not the actual, that's a pretty bad RNI. Risk to reward, it's not great, but if it's 2.4 is what it is if you use a smooth moving average, which I think on downtrends is a lot stronger to use eventually. So I could see this being an okay short. It's not the 3-to-1 I like, but it's not a horrible. Usually you feel those wicks, so I think there's a probably 80 to 90% chance you win this trade if you put your stop even at $4.40. So that's not financial advice. It's definitely a high risk short, but there's a lot of money to be made if it does go down from $3.47 back down to $1.20. So my take profit would probably be $1.20. Stop loss would be at the lowest $1.40. $4.50. So that's my update right now. On that, ICP looks pretty bad to me. Fartcoin, thank you for the follow, Ena. So I'm going to have to add that to my watch list because I do think the ICP, that's not a great R&R, but I do think that's probably a trade you probably win most of the time. ICP on the daily, so I probably will take that trade at some point after this live. I think there's a very high chance I humor that trade. ICP had that crazy wick, so I'd be surprised if you don't go down and retest. I would say about 9 cents. Holy crap! I'm sorry. Fartcoin went down to 9 cents. Look how far below the daily 200 you are. That's coming in at 80 cents. Oh my gosh! So you're below the daily 200. The 4 hours above the 200. Because of that, I can't really enter a short though. But I still think at some point you might revisit 8 to 9. We'll say 9 cents on Fartcoin. Now again, I wouldn't take this short like I would on ICP because you're above the 4 hour 200 day moving average. But like anytime, if you get below it, you could maybe enter a short. For right now, I would not short Fart, but I would be surprised if at some point in this bear market you don't go down and test 9 or 10 cents for a double bottom. But again, I wouldn't short it because you're above the 4 hour 200. So ICP looks like the better short to me right now. Thank you for the likes as well. I appreciate it. With that being said, guys, I'm going to wrap this up. I'll be back live Tuesday night at 6 p.m. Central Time. If I have to tweak that again, I will let you guys know. But let me just check something really quickly. I don't see why I would have to tweak that, but let me see. For right now, I'll plan on being live on Tuesday at 6 p.m. Central Time. So yeah, I'll be live Tuesday at 6 p.m. Central Time. That's the next time I'll be live. So have a great night. Have a great weekend. There's not a lot going on right now in the markets. It's the weekend in December, low volume. I would honestly not trade Bitcoin till Monday. Not financial advice, but that's what I would do. I'll see you guys in the next one. Have a great night. Thank you for stopping by and thank you for the support. I'll see you guys on Tuesday night at 6 p.m. Central Time for our next live stream on YouTube and TikTok. The trends are fine until the end. A lot of these coins are struggling. 3-minute might play out on Bitcoin up to 89.9. Just to recap on Bitcoin, I'm pretty bearish on Bitcoin unless you crack the 1 hour 200 at $90,600. Or, yeah, you could even say $90,400. If Bitcoin cracks $90,400, I'm bullish again on it. But if you're below the 1 hour 200, I don't see any reason why you don't continue to the downside. That's my update on Bitcoin. If you are below $90,400, I would not be long on it. And I also wouldn't take a trade till Monday, but at least not on Bitcoin. Maybe alts are a different story, but again, that's up to you. Not financial advice. I'll see you guys Tuesday night for our next live stream at 6 p.m. Central Time. Until then, the trend is your friend until the end. I'll see you guys in the next one. Adios and have a good night. Also, thank you for the more likes on TikTok. Enjoy the college football that's out there tonight as well.